Hi, entrepreneur. Welcome to your Entrepreneur Resources Show. I'm super excited that you're here with me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Denise, your host and Entrepreneur Resources. We discover the no-fluff action steps to help you avoid all the overwhelm and all the BS out there, connecting you with the right mentors, resources, and tools, helping you the way on your entrepreneurial journey. We go live here twice a week, interviewing different entrepreneurial areas of business, so make sure to join our Facebook group and look out for the events inside your entrepreneur. All the links in the description box. Today I have a very special. It is Denise Eckert. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So Denise is a certified life coach and hypnotherapist. Her unique program includes a group of health professionals with different modalities, hence and satisfying experience creating a balanced lifestyle. In this interview with what is overwhelm really costing you and the tips to reduce a powerful topic. And I'm so excited to chat with you today. But before, I'd love for you to share more about your business and your journey with us.
Wonderful. Well, I've been an entrepreneur pretty much all my life, so I can relate to any entrepreneur. And I find out, especially when we're starting our businesses, we tend to spend a lot of time working. And that is also because we're wearing the different hats. We're not just wearing the CEO hat, we're doing the accounting, we're doing the social media, we're doing everything. And we tend to put too much on our plate. And in my past, I've burnt out so many times, and I didn't really know why or what was going on. I'd go to the doctors and get tests done, and the doctor would be going, "You're fine." Like all my blood work came by fine, but I was always getting sick. I was always with pneumonia, or I was just fatigued and exhausted all the time. And when I got into coaching, it was an interest of mine because I love working with small business owners and I love working with entrepreneurs because of their spirit. But I also want to help them not to go into overwhelm, stress, and burnout in the end. So that's why I'm here, and that's what I'm doing today.
I think it's so important because a lot of the time, people, just like what you said, entrepreneurs are not everyone's super overwhelmed, all that are prone to being overwhelmed. Do you want to share a little bit more about why you think that is? Why do you think entrepreneurs?
A lot of times it is our mentality or our mindset because we believe that it's hard to do things guilt-free when you're not working. So just say you went for a walk and you're out there for an hour, but you need to send out these emails and you need to do this and you need to do that. And we tend to put too much on our to-do list. Like if we actually took a reality check and we looked at our to-do list and to see, if a normal person could do that today, fine. But a lot of times we just keep adding to our list and adding to our list to the point where even if we cloned ourselves 2 or 3 times, it's an impossible list to get through. And we tend to put that pressure on ourselves because it is our own business. And we believe that if we don't work hard, we're not going to succeed. And in reality, it's the opposite is true. Like if you take that time and you give yourself time to rejuvenate, your productivity actually goes up. But a lot of us don't think like that.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think that sometimes, I mean, there's so many technology programs, there's so many courses and all these different things out there right now. Do you think these are that entrepreneurs face?
The problem is you've always got that learning curve too. So when you are starting something new, you're always learning. And a lot of times with us being an entrepreneur and it's yourself, you are doing that learning and it actually adds to your plate once you have your business streamlined, it does bring you back down to more of a productive, relaxed mode.
Yeah, for sure. So we talked to overwhelm the audience right now by talking more about what causes overwhelm. So let's talk about any kind of when it comes to avoiding the overwhelm and just really, stepping back and just love your business, right? Because overwhelm leads to burnout. And if you're burnt out, you're just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm stepping away. I'm done, right? So yeah, please share any kind of tips you might have for us regarding how to avoid the overwhelm.
Well, the biggest thing is when you start feeling that fluster or that frustration or that irritability, first thing is just step away. Whether you do a meditation or a tapping episode, or you just sit in silence, or you go for a quick walk, and it's just disconnecting yourself from it. And then what I like doing with my clients is that once you've stepped away, take a real look at what you need to do. And what I like doing is just brain dumping. And when you brain dump, you just put everything out on the table, and then you can take a clear look of what really, really needs to be done. And then from there, you can look at things and whether things are aligning with you, because sometimes you get stuck doing things that don't even align with yourself or your business, and delete those things or delegate things. Another thing is group things. So if you're doing one thing, instead of doing a social media post every couple hours, sit down one afternoon when you're in that creative mood and do everything so that you have that jump and not jumping from task. Those are some really important tips to reduce that stress and overwhelm.
I definitely love those. I do want to kind of talk a little bit more about the different tips that you've just shared. How would you suggest people do that? So I know that for me, when I sit down, like, no, I'm stuck. I have nothing. Like, I don't know what to write down. I don't know where to. How do you even, have your ideas? How do you get yourself in the right mindset for that?
Well, a lot of times, a lot of us, when we do journal, we tend to want to write in sentences. So that slows us down a little bit too. So when you do start doing the brain dump of your to-do list, just think of the things, what's important to you this week, and just write it down. And don't worry about the sentence structure, and don't worry about the order it needs to go in. Just dump, dump, dump. And a lot of times you might even repeat yourself. Don't worry about that. Just get it out, get it out, get it out. And what I love to do is I do that for a week and make myself a list of the things I want to get accomplished this week. And I don't put a timeline on it, and I don't put what date I'm going to do it, so that when I'm working on things, I can pick something that I want to do that day where I'm feeling in that mode. There's no sense in me doing something creative when I really don't feel in a creative mood. I'd rather do something technical. But just get started. What do I want to do this week? Write down the things that you want to do. What do I want to get done this month? And just get it flowing. And as I said, don't worry about sentences or paragraphs or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you recommend people use pen and paper to make that list, or would you recommend people use, like, I don't know. I know there are people in the audience right now that's thinking, okay, so I need to get a new software for this. What is the best way to make your brain dump list?
I love doing it pen and paper, because then you can scratch stuff out and you're just getting it out. And I find too, when you're writing it down, you take more responsibility for it, and you're focusing on that paper. A lot of times when you're dealing with new software, or I know with myself, when I write things like in Word, then I'm like cutting and pasting and moving stuff around and making revisions. Like, that's the basic thing of the brain dump, is not to make revisions, just to get it out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I love that. Definitely we'll try to focus on that a little bit more. I think that's a really great tip, sharing that. And then you mentioned delegating, right? So Do you mean outsourcing or, like getting new programs to help you out? Like, how do you, because I know that a lot of entrepreneurs treat their businesses like they're babies. They're like, no, no one else is going to touch my baby. No one else is going to leave my baby. So how do you kind of get yourself in the right mindset to kind of let go a little bit and start delegating?
Well, a lot of times what I like doing with my clients too is chunking things down. So yes, it's still your baby, but for instance, I keep using social media for some reason as an example, but it is something that most businesses need to tackle. But if you're looking around and just for instance, you say, okay, this creating the graphics takes too much time. You can go online and outsource the graphics. And that takes up a lot, like a big chunk of your time that you can outsource. Or you can barter, especially at the beginning. I know money is tight, but there's different ways of doing things too. Like if you can barter, I've bartered before for, giving someone a coaching session in lieu of doing some content work for me, so that you're not. Bottom line is just not spreading yourself too thin, and if you can find other solutions to get, for instance, like the biggest thing I like outsourcing is my bookkeeping, because it's not for me. I don't like dealing with all my invoices and my receipts and all that. And for me, that is a time consuming project that I need to do, but I'd rather just put it into a pile and hand it over to someone else. And plus, I don't have that knowledge. They would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think I outsourced my bookkeeping from day one because I was like, I don't like it. I won't enjoy it. I would just get overwhelmed because I have to learn everything from scratch and might as well just outsource it, right? Yeah. And I love that you talked about social media because I think one of the biggest factors that where entrepreneurs get stuck and overwhelmed is with social media. There's so many new platforms popping up, and there's the FOMO, right? It's like the fear of missing out. If someone else is on that platform, you feel like you have to be there too. Do you have any tips as to how to avoid that shiny object syndrome and being overwhelmed when it comes to social media?
And that's a hard one, because I know with my business, I started out, I was working on Instagram and I was working on Facebook, and it really wasn't for me. Most of my work now, I am on LinkedIn, and I guess it's just finding what works for you, but don't do everything. Because I mean, even though now I'm on Instagram still, I don't spend any time there. I might pop in once in a while, or I might do it, on a personal note. But it's really focusing down on what works for you, where are your clients, and streamlining what you're doing. So in a way too, it's chunking things down as well. Because if you're going to be on social media all day long, there's not much else you're going to get done.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%. I think people like we see all these big gurus and like marketers out there that are on like they look like they're on social media 24/7. They're answering all their DMs, they answered all the comments and everything, but then we don't realize they have a bigger team than us. Most probably, they probably outsource those parts, right? So it's okay for you not to, think that you need to be everywhere all the time. There are other ways to kind of avoid that and just focus and hone in on the things that truly matter. So I love that. So I know like when it comes to overwhelm, I'm sure you have more tips, but I do have a question because I'm very curious about this. Um, what what kind of tips do you have to help entrepreneurs truly step back and step away from technology, step away from their business? Because just like what you said, it's so easy to guilt trip yourself, to feel guilty for not working. And with
Yeah.
COVID happening, it's been going on for a year, like we feel like because we're stuck at home, so we feel like our computer is right there. How do you, I'm completely guilty of just sitting in front of my computer all day every day. So what kind of, as well as all the entrepreneurs that's listening right now, to step away and truly rest?
Well, what I like to do is switch things up. There's a lot of times during the day where I actually just close my computer and walk away. And you know what? You don't have to do anything crazy or fancy. Even just doing something like the dishes, or going outside and do a little bit of gardening, or go outside and do, clean out the vehicle, or just do something else. Just switch it up. And the thing is, if you're doing something else that keeps you busy or that you have to concentrate on, you are giving yourself a break from what's going on your screen.
Yeah, I think definitely. Like I'm like I'm just like my brain is like moving and I'm like my wheels are turning right now. But for example, for me, when I'm working on a project, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and just do everything. But then I don't realize that my brain can't focus for that long, right? Like I need to step away every once in a while and rest. Um, what other tip you have for us? Like, because I know that there are different things when it comes to like spacing, like where to work and the clothes that you wear and all that kind of thing. Do you have any other tips regarding how to kind of, like detach yourself from work when it comes to the right time to do that?
I do. And it's called, what I call it is chunking down. So if you've got a big project, put it into steps and then reward yourself after each step. And reward yourself with something that you're doing something different. So, for instance, it doesn't have to be complicated once again. So, just say you were working on something and step one is this, and you finish step one, go make yourself a nice lunch or pour yourself a nice tea and go sit outside and just get that break. And what's nice about chunking things, it's almost like mini projects. So, you have that feeling of accomplishment. And then you are rewarding yourself and you are giving yourself time away from your work and you're rejuvenating yourself. And then when you go into step whatever it is that you're doing, the next chunk of work, you don't feel that stressed out and you don't feel like you're overdoing it because it's another chunk and another chunk. So it's almost like a cycle. So you chunk it, finish it, reward yourself, give yourself a break, and then do it again.
I especially love the fact you brought up, rewarding yourself. Because I think a lot of the time, back in high school, university, or even primary school, whenever you yes, I did it. I'm going to sell ends. It's going to be great. But now we don't. We finish something, we're moving on to the next thing immediately. We don't allow ourselves that space or that break or, the moment of, feeling like you've actually accomplished something. Yeah, so that's super important. I also have that, this got me thinking, and I'm really curious about this, but do you have any like suggestions as to whether or not people take a day, a week, or I don't know, even 2 weeks or even more to step away from their businesses and go on a holiday or, like a virtual retreat or something like this? Is that something that you like suggest for your clients to do?
I do. It depends on where they are in their business because a lot of us can't do that. And there's no sense in stepping away if you're going to be worried about what's going on. And a lot of times, as you know, when you're in business, you have that momentum going. So you really, to do that, whether you plan it, I'm going to go on a cruise in this year or I'm going to go on this vacation, that's a different story. But just to walk away from your business, sometimes it creates more stress than just taking more chunks of time. Like there's a lot of times where I will take a day off and I won't even go on the computer. It's I will do whatever I had to do the night before. I will close it down. People that need to get in touch with me, they know I'm off for the day. And then I take that day off. And it's so hard. Like I don't know if you've done it in the last little while. It's so hard because we get the notifications on our phone. So we're always connected. And it's so hard to disconnect. And I'll tell you one thing that when I've started doing it for myself, it makes such a difference because sometimes you just get so frustrated with your business, especially in this lockdown, because for me, it's one of the biggest things I have because I can't go out and do other things. And it becomes so, you almost become resentful towards it. So even just taking a day off and doing something else brings up that appreciation, and doing things like gratitude practice, just bringing that appreciation up. So when you do need that time off, and that's what I teach a lot of my clients, is that it doesn't have to be extreme to take a break. Like, you don't need to take a month off or a week off. If you want to, go for it. But it doesn't need to be that extreme. Taking a couple hours or taking a day off, it's amazing, what it will do for you mentally.
That really got me thinking, because I see all these people saying, "Oh, I'm going on a retreat for like 2 weeks," and I'm like, "What?" But it's so true. If you're going to do it and you won't truly relax because you can't step away right now, you're not in the right place of your business, like there's no point in doing that, because you just bring yourself more stress and being more. That's such a great way of putting it. I also love that you talked about gratitude. Do you have any kind of morning routine, or any routine where you sit down and journal, or do you have any suggestions as to how someone that doesn't have a morning routine, or doesn't meditate or do gratitude journaling or anything like that, like how do we get started?
And that is so important. It is so important because you're setting yourself up for the day. And if you jump right into stress, you're setting you up for stress. And for instance, if you get that email and now you're jumping into a problem and you're not setting yourself up for a nice day, it ruins my day. I know that, because there are times where I don't do my morning routine. And a morning routine does not have to be a huge thing. I get up, I have a little book I read. It's like a little, section that I read. I have my intention or my affirmation of the day. I do maybe a few minutes. I don't do like an hour meditation, but I do center myself. And I have something nice to drink. And then I get into my day. Like, the worst thing to do is start your day on your phone, because then you're jumping right into the negative data and you're almost starting your day out in that fight mode.
Yeah, it's like you start a day, you're overwhelmed already. Like you're basically chasing yourself constantly. You're like, okay, no, I've got this, I've got this to do. And it's so negative. And why are you doing that to yourself? I feel like I'm talking to, like, I'm sorry, but this interview is for me. Like, I'm like, yes, like I need this. And sometimes, even if you know these things yourself, you don't really hear it, practice them. And it's so great what you're sharing with us right now. I feel like a lot of these are truly actionable as well. There are small things that you can do that can really like set you up for success and help you avoid all the overwhelm. So I love all of these. Thank you so much. I just have one more question. I believe that one big part of being not overwhelmed, um, are you all right? Oh no, I hope you're okay.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, 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 you okay?
Yes.
Too excited with the conversation. I was just gonna say, I believe that one big part of being not overwhelmed is to organize, not just organize your space, but also organize your thoughts. I know that comes down to journaling as well. Do you have any tips or anything you like to share with us regarding organization?
I myself am not a big journaler, but I have my to-do list. And sorry about this.
Oh no, it's okay. Take your time.
So yes, I do make my list and then I break it down. And so I have everything in front of me so that I can focus. But I'm more of a tapping person. I like my tapping.
Okay. What do you mean by tapping?
Emotional freedom technique. It's
Hmm.
I have some on my website, and it just centers you down.
Okay, that's incredible. I'll definitely link it in the description box down below for anybody that's interested in checking that out. Speaking of which, I know you have a free gift for us, and I would love for you to share a little bit more about it and how it can help people avoid overwhelm.
Well, what it is, it's a quiz. So you can find out whether you're living in balance and doing things like morning routine or doing things for yourself like rewards, or if you're just jumping out of bed on your phone in the negative. And that will show you whether you're living a burnout or a stress lifestyle. And it's a very simple quiz. It's 20 questions, and it'll show you where you stand. And it also gives you
Amazing.
ideas of what changes you can make in your life to reduce that stress and overwhelm.
I need to take that quiz right after this interview. I think I need that in my life. So thank you so much for sharing. And for those of those that want to connect with you, where can they find you on social media, or could you share your website as well?
Yes, my website is balance, so just balance little-me.ca. And my social media handles are pretty much all Coach with Denise. So it's pretty easy. Coach with
Perfect.
Denise on Instagram. I think it's Coach with Denise on Facebook, and LinkedIn, it's Denise Eckert. And then yes, you can go to my website, and if you're interested in the quiz, it's balance-me.ca and just /quiz. And it's a free quiz that you can take. And it'll give you an idea of how you're living your lifestyle. Like if you're being kind to yourself or if you're putting yourself in undue stress.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And again, thank you for being on your Entrepreneur Resources show. I love all the tips and all the strategies. I know they're so actionable that I'm going to take notes and walk away and just take action right now. So, for those of you that might have missed some of these tips, make sure to check out the show notes that I'll put in the oh my gosh, that I'll link in the description box down below. We've got our live interviews with experts here twice a week, so make sure to stay tuned and join our community on Facebook. Again, you can find all the links in the description box. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll chat with you very soon, and have a great rest of your day.